Hey, this is Dustin from D3 Imagery. Chances are, if you've ever tried nighttime photography, or maybe you're an avid nighttime photographer, that you've encountered light pollution in nearly every place that you ever taken your camera at night. Even where I'm from, in rural northern Michigan, I find light pollution in the least expected places, even all the way across Lake Michigan from Wisconsin, which is over 50 miles away. So tonight, what I'd like to try is find and photograph the darkest sky possible in the Lower Peninsula of Michigan. I'll be using darksightfinder.com, one of my favorite online tools, and I'm interested to see what the results are. So let's move over to the computer here real quick and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we're looking at darksightfinder.com, which is a really easy to use resource to quickly find the darkest skies anywhere in the world. And I'm in Michigan, which, as you can see here, the lower portion near Detroit, this whole entire lower half is pretty unforgiving in terms of dark skies. But my challenge was to find the darkest skies possible in the Lower Peninsula, which led me to this little piece of coast here on Lake Huron. And then as I looked more closely into this area where there are darker skies, I found a possible point of interest, which is Hammond Bay State Harbor. I'm a huge fan of Google Earth Pro, the installable application, so I decided to investigate, and I found some dock. I found that it's a harbor for boats, there's a break wall, and there might be some interesting compositions to be found. So this is the place where I'm going to head out tonight and take a closer look. I always try to come to the plate with some type of concept in mind if possible. So I took a look in another tool that I love to use, which is Stellarium, and I thought it's not really Milky Way season. Around 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning before the sun rises, there's going to be a little bit of Milky Way in the sky before the sun comes up, and that is at about 110 degrees. If I go back to Google Earth here, what I found is that if we go down this dock here, point our camera in this direction, it's about 105 degrees. So I might actually find a composition with the dock here pointing toward into Lake Huron with the Milky Way in the horizon. But I don't know. Maybe there's a boat there and I'll photograph that. We're just going to have to go and kind of play it by ear and see if the plan works out or not. All right, let's go ahead and get packed up, get bundled up, because it is winter still, and see how it goes. I'm starting to think the only reason why I go out to photograph is for the coffee. Sometimes you show up and the plans change, and tonight was certainly an example of that. I tried some shots from the dock's angle that I had planned on, and those just looked unimaginative to me. These boats I found sitting in the ice, surprisingly, I mean, in the middle of winter you don't typically see boats just hanging out on the lake. They're usually stored away. The Milky Way is kind of out of the shot tonight, unfortunately. My approach to this shot is going to be really simple. We're going to shoot stars above it. I'm going to light paint from an angle, and then also I might have to do a couple of additional light painting exposures where I expose this ice that's down here, which, by the way, this ice has its own like cracky, eerie sound to it as well. As you probably can imagine, when you can see less, it heightens your other senses. So you come out here and you hear the sounds that you would probably take for granted in the daytime. And the sensory experience is just different. Okay, so for our star exposure, what we're going to do here is shoot with the Rokinon at a 25-second exposure, ISO of 2500. So let's go ahead and turn the headlamp off. I've already set my focus. I have a 2-second delay, and here we go. Another thing we want to do here to take advantage of multiple exposures is just to hone in the focus real quick. Okay, so I have our Rokinon set to an f8, and we're going to shoot it in ISO of 400. So I have a 10-second amount of time to step over to the side and paint this bad boy. All right, light painting with the headlamp. Like what it's done. I'd like to also do another shot where I highlight the ice. We're gonna go ahead and do that next. Highlighting the ice. And I also feel like this dark corner right here needs its own exposure too, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Exposing this piece of ice here. All right, stepping away. So it turns out my quest for a winter Milky Way shot took an unexpected turn and became more of a light painting concept. But I'm totally okay with that and walked away with what I consider a keeper of a shot. And if you'd like to see the method that I use to blend and process a photo like that, I highly recommend another video that I made on the topic that you can find up here. As for light pollution, I did end up photographing across Lake Huron and found the overall pollution was much lower than over Lake Michigan, so Dark Sight Finder turned out to be quite reliable. So thanks again for coming out with me on this trip, for liking this video. I would be honored if you'd subscribe. I don't create these videos because I think I'll become YouTube famous or make money when I have a day off and I can't get out there. I really appreciate videos like this and I have a lot of fun watching them. So hopefully that did that for you. Maybe it will inspire you to go and shoot something different and shoot something awesome this week. This is Dustin from D3 Imagery, and have a great rest of your day.